am on pay.
See, I ain't got that much time left. 'Cause I give you my all, and all you give me is your words to kiss. What I'ma do with it? I think it's best if I move to the left. 'Cause I know that somebody waiting on all this love I gotta give. I wonder when you gonna love me. 'Cause I'm tired. All right, let me stop that before I mess around and get my video deleted before it even starts. So, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. We're going to get ready to start in about a minute or two. Let me just get this set up. I'm not sure what's going on here. There we go. There we go. There we go. All right. Must be Friday morning. Let me throw the chat together here. There we go. So this way, anything that comes up in the chat comes up. All right. Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, professional counselor, author, and educational consultant. And I come on every Friday morning to have a conversation of things connected to positive personal health, dealing with emotional, mental, physical, and spiritual dispositions. What I do is try to build a positive connection and to help people figure out different things that may be wrong with them while having a conversation about the various subjects that affect us in different ways. And so this is what I do. And right now I'm being seen here on Facebook as well as on YouTube Live. And so if after this, if you miss it or you have to go, by all means, you can run over to YouTube and watch the replay or come to Facebook and watch the replay. So again, I appreciate you. And when you come in, please introduce yourself, as let me know where you're viewing me from. And as I say all the time, even if no one shows up, which it'd be bad, but it is what it is, I am going to act like the whole world is watching simply because this is what needs to be done. So let's get this here. All right. So today we're talking about the term independence. I'm actually interested in something here. Let me change this color here. I don't like that color. 283 B87. There we go. There we go. Let's turn this up here. There we go. Okay. There we go. All right. I'm going to change the color back to blue. Part of my branding colors, as they say. All right. So what we're talking about today is the term independent woman, independent man, and why does that word create such negativity with people? I'm gonna give it about another minute or so to see who shows up, and then we'll get started. But in the meantime, and the song I was listening to as it was coming on is Sean Milley, "Love Me." I actually really digging the lyrics to it. Has an old R&B feel. Actually, we're gonna stop saying that. R&B is R&B. We keep saying old R&B as if there's no talent today. I got a problem with that. There's some great talent. It's just that those in charge direct us to what they want us to listen to for whatever reason. But if we go out here and search for what's out here, you'll literally come across some extreme talent. And I'm just really digging his song, "Love Me." It's actually some great lyrics. And basically the brother's calling out to, why you don't love me? And brothers, if you've been in that situation, it should resonate with you. All right, let me give you a little background of how today's conversation came about. I was on TikTok yesterday. I came in on a live. They were having a live session. And the topic of conversation was, how do men feel about independent women? And normally I pass by, because if you've ever been on TikTok, you know that going live is a big thing. I don't, because if you say one word that's not in their analytics, they will just shut your whole thing down like that. Also, if people are in the live and don't enjoy what you're saying or have an issue with you, they do what's called mass reporting, and all of a sudden your live can disappear. I don't want anybody having that much control over my content, over my words. Also, you have to use certain language on the app, or again, they will shut it down. I use the word, it can be considered offensive, but I used it in the proper context because I was quoting what someone said. Now, here's my thing, real simple. I'm a college educated man, 2 master's degrees, a bachelor's degree, and an associate's degree. I've written quite a few papers. And in writing those papers, I had to cite sources. I had to make sure I quoted people the correct way, or I would have been in a lot of trouble if I used somebody else's words inappropriately. So I had to make sure that things were quoted. So when speaking, if I quote something, I try to give the person, if I know it, who said it, the proper respect of saying, it wasn't me that said this. This is who said it. So I was on live talking, and I used a term, but I said a mother that I was dealing with in school would call her son this. It's not my term, but this is what the mother said. Next thing I know, I caught a suspension, and it said that I was using hate speech. And then I realized something. The algorithm doesn't check context. The algorithm only searches for words. And when it hears certain words, that's it. And I got a problem with that, because if we're now taking words out of context, then we're limiting how people converse with themselves. That can't be helpful. So I just don't go live over on TikTok, the other app. But with that said, so we're having a conversation about independent women, and I'm listening, and I jumped into the conversation because I just wanted to offer, because I was hearing what the men were saying, and they were saying, when I meet a woman, now rock with me, ladies, if you're watching, men, if you're watching, and at any point, this is an open conversation. So at any point, male or female, if you want to get in to offer your position from the chat, by all means, I have no problem with it. Okay. So the gentleman was saying, when they meet a woman, and I want to make sure I quote the gentleman right. He said, when she starts with that, I'm independent and I don't need no man, he said, I disconnect and I'm done at that point. I just cut it off and leave. And my whole thing was, why? What's the reasoning behind why she said it? Why are we not even, and I understand why some men, because there were some brothers in the chat and sisters giving me the business, like, I don't care, I ain't got to check. No one is forcing anybody to do anything. I'm simply saying, if a woman's position when I meet her is she's saying she doesn't need a man because she's independent, I'm not taking that as a knock against me. But I want to get some background on why she feels that way, because she might have came across a lot of men who assisted in her feeling that way. And I don't want to judge her on what's going on behind her when there's an opportunity that me and her may be able to connect and build something going forward. So some other brothers came on and was basically like, it's not for me to have to try to fix all that. I didn't mention fix. Or once she shows me that type of attitude, I know she's damaged or hurt or whatever. And I'm thinking, here I am as the professional counselor, and I'm saying, well, how do we know she's hurt? Why do we put that label on? Because we don't particularly care for the attitude that she has. It's okay not to like the attitude. You know, a negative attitude is a negative attitude. Actually, speaking of that, hold on a second. Let's look at the definition, because that's another thing too, is I don't want people to just think I'm talking off the top of my head. I did a quick search, and I wanted to look up the definition of a negative attitude, right? It is a disposition, feeling, or manner that is not constructive, cooperative, or optimistic. Makes sense to me. Really does. It makes sense to me. And with that said, I was like, okay. If you don't like her attitude, then I respect what you're saying, because then it makes sense, because you're saying, I don't like her attitude. So it's not so much what she said, it's what she's doing or what she did. I get that. But then my thing is convey that. Because when you just say, when she says this, I'm out. Well, that triggers a response. And then it makes me think, when you're meeting the person, if you're not going to engage in a conversation just because you heard certain words that I don't think are that bad. Again, attitude is something different. And with that said, I want to look at something else, right? Let's look at the term independent, because again, it's important that we understand the actual terms themselves. Let's look at the term independent, right? What does it mean being independent? Not dependent, such as not subject to control by others, self-governing. Also, if you look it up, it'll tell you similar to self-reliant, self-efficient. So basically a person doing for themselves. I don't see how that is a bad thing. Again, that is my own opinion. I'm not trying to project my opinion. I'm just trying to amplify my opinion. Because if a woman is self-sufficient and a woman feels that at this point in her life she doesn't need a man, let me get an idea how that aligns with where I'm at. Up to this point, she may not have needed a man. She may not have believed she needed a man. That doesn't mean that once she meets a man, that her and that man can't see things and it change into something different. And when I heard one of the brothers say, it's not for me to try to teach her or show her anything, I don't think ever are we supposed to try to come into something, let me show you, other than show yourself. And if that helps or opens the door to a person to want to learn more, cool. Now, on the flip side, ladies, let me ask you this, all the ladies that's watching. How does that align with you when a man speaks about his independence? Because I think for me, it seems to be like a two-sided coin. When a woman says she's independent, it seems like men react differently. And again, some men go to the attitude instead of the definition of the word, but we already talked about that. But when a man is independent, again, it looks like he's favored. Because the minute that a man is not self-sufficient, self-relying, or is dependent in whatever area, it's automatically he's criticized. And I think that double standard creates a problem, especially when folks are dating. Now, I'm happily married, have been with Tiff for over 20 years, but that doesn't mean that I'm not connected to people who are dating. And it doesn't mean that I'm not counseling people who are out in the dating pool now, and I'm listening to the problems that they're dealing with. And here's what I'll tell you that's super interesting to me, right, in dealing with this subject. I was doing a little background on why do men have a problem with independent women. A ton of articles came up. Ton. I mean, and I'm going to go over a couple because there was so much to grab from. But when I did the reverse search and I put, why do some women have a problem with independent men? I didn't even find an article. I didn't really find anything. And that really stood out to me. That there really is no issue with the man being independent, but there's tons of issues in how men interact with women who are considered or consider themselves independent or considered independent. Now, I want to go over a couple of things. I got a couple of things I want to go over. And again, there's not a lot of people here. So at the end of the day, I'm going to go through what I got to go through, and then I am out because it is the weekend. All right. So again, I looked up, why do some women or men have issues with independent men or women? So if you're a man, why do you have a problem with independent woman? And if you're a woman, why do you have a problem with independent man? But as I stated, didn't find anything for women that had issues with independent men. So it's like, I expect them to be independent, but Lord, do it for yourself. Look up, how do men feel about independent women? Just do that. Oh my God, it'll come up. But here's one, and there's 4 reasons, right? Reasons why men see an independent women as a threat. And I want to, let me just stop real quick. I want to preface something, right? These are the terms that I saw connected to this search that I'm talking about, right? Scared, meaning why are men scared of independent women? Why are men threatened by independent women? Why do men find independent women difficult? And then why do men have issue with independent women? There was so much that could be conceived as negative, but these were the terms. And scared, threatened, difficult, have issue. Those don't reek of positivity, but okay. So let's look at these 4. Let's go back up to these 4 reasons why many men see an independent woman as a threat. Okay, here we go. Number 1, some men get intimidated. I've seen that. Some men get intimidated by an independent woman. I have seen that. And let me just say this to any man that watches this, comes on and watches this now or watches this in replay, whatever. Miss me with the term simp. Do not try to hit me with he's just simping. And please miss me with the term pandering. Because I've heard men say that because I support women and I try to help women. Oh, he a simp, he a pander. I ain't out here trying to get no panties. I'm past that. I'm here trying to fix the damage that many of us, myself included, have done to women. And I have no problem admitting that. So there's no simp and no pandering going on. But somebody has to step up and say, brothers, we're wrong. We're hurting our sisters and we need them. So the first thing is that some men get intimidated. Yes, I have seen that. Number 2, many independent women refuse to shrink themselves into society's stereotypical box. I've seen that too. I've seen some women say, I don't care what I'm supposed to be. This is what I am. Deal with me. And I have seen brothers have a problem with that. But I've also seen that type of thought process create a problem with men of equal standing. So it's not just one-sided with that one. And again, if you're coming across this and you want to leave a message or you want to respond, go right ahead. 3, the male ego also plays its part. Yeah, I've seen that. The male ego is a fragile thing, but it is something that can propel some of us to greatness and be a bondage for others, the ego. And some of us, yes, are super egotistical to such a degree, we can't allow ourselves to change. And because some of us have been successful being egotistical, we're not really trying to hear anything. So yeah, I can see that one, why a man would see that as a threat. And number 4, misinterpretation of what female strength is. Now that was interesting to me because I have had that conversation. And actually that was one of the things that, and the brother's name, King of Spade, I think on TikTok, shout out to him because it was his page and live that I was in. He said, I thought a certain way, but as the brother was speaking, he was talking about me. He said, I can see where he's coming from because I had to make some of those changes in myself. And I appreciate him saying that. But I do see a lot of brothers who misinterpret a woman's strength and put this as if she's exercising her ego in the same way that men do. Now, that's not to say that there's not egotistical women. There are. There are egotistical women. There are women whose attitudes and egos are the same as their male counterparts. So again, that can be both ways, but I have seen a woman's strength misinterpreted. And I got to keep it very real. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I have seen some men who get so intimidated by his woman's strengths, they try to beat that out of her because they don't like to feel intimidated. So the only way they know how to deal with it is aggression. And if you're watching this in replay and you agree with me, just put a 1 in the chat. And how do I know? Because I am a professional counselor. I am a crisis specialist. And I have dealt with domestic violence. I have dealt with sexual assault too. And I have seen that some people, when they feel that they're boxed into a corner, they will become aggressive. Okay. So that was just 4 that I got from one site, right? And I want to go through another one I found. Like I said, there was so much there. I might go back and do some more research and have further conversation on that, because it's actually really interesting. And there's a study that I put up. The study is, and let me just get the link for you. The study was on I Am a Strong Independent Black Woman, the Strong Black Woman Schema and Mental Health in College-Age Black Women. They did a study of over 200 women of color. I'm going to try to put this up for you. They did a study of over 200 women of color in the college level. And I found it interesting how dealing with being considered an independent woman of color really created psychological issues for some women in terms of how they were treated, which the potential rate of suicide went up. So let me just bring this up. It should come up at the bottom of the screen now. There you go. That's the location of the study. Also, if you want, it's posted on my Facebook page if you want to look at the actual study. And I found it interesting because my target audience is women 35 to 70. So a lot of women who have gone through those college years, those late teens, early 20s, a lot of things that they're going to put into life in their lives are there: children, marriage, careers, whatever it is, or whatever negatives have happened. And I come on the back end now when they're in their 30s. It's like, okay, what am I going to do, or how am I going to sustain whatever it is? I come to try to help out from that point. But in reading this article and seeing how so many women have such negative dispositions because of things that have happened because of men and choices that they made, I realized what I'm dealing with at 35. And I might even have to change that number and maybe decrease the number to be able to help sisters out. I'm not sure. I'll sit down and do some research on that, because the article is real interesting. And I don't want to go completely into the article, but that's the link. And if you are not sure, you can always look on my Facebook page, but there's the link. And that's the title of the study. And it was actually a pretty good one. Okay. So I'm gonna leave that up for a little bit while I move on to this right here. So here's something else that I found that I thought was interesting in dealing with today's subject, right? Is reasons men are scared. And again, these terms: scared, threatened, have issue, difficult. As I mentioned, these are the titles that come up. So this one says reasons why men are scared of independent women. And this one says why women should be proud of this. Now, understand that a lot of these articles were not pro men, and I didn't expect them to be. But some of them was giving us men the business, and I'm like, all of us aren't that bad, but I know a lot of us are. Sorry, it's just what it is. I know a lot of brothers out here who just aren't doing what they were supposed to do, and we had that conversation yesterday in the group, because they were only allowing men to come on live, because the day before they had only let women come on live. But it was just interesting how varying the viewpoints are when men get together. And that was something that I pointed out, is that men will have harder and more passionate arguments over LeBron versus Jordan than they do over relationships and love. And it's just a fact. We don't sit around and really beat on the table about love and relationships and respect of our sisters as we do sports, even down to emotion. Many men won't show any emotion, but are quite okay when a man is showing his emotion from playing a sport. But that's another subject for another day. Let me just go through this, and then I'm going to finish up today and start the weekend. Here we go. Reasons men are scared of independent women and why you should be proud of that. Okay, here we go. Number 1, alpha men don't know how to handle a woman on their level. Now, I'm going to tell you, some of these I do not agree with, but I understand it and have seen it. I have seen some alpha men not feel comfortable with a female who is on par. Again, I don't agree that a man should have any issue. Actually, it's kind of exciting when you have an equal or even a woman that forces you to step your game up. But again, that's me, and I am entitled to my own thought process. Another reason why men are scared of independent women and why you should be proud of that. She firmly says, we don't need no man. Now, I'm going to tell you why I disagree with that. And part of it is because I am a big fan of the power of relationships. I am a big fan of love. I am a big fan of when people get together, fall in love, the power and the strength that comes from that. Yeah, it's Pollyannic. Yeah, I'm that dude with the rose-colored glasses and all of that, but I am. And so as much as I understand why people feel that way, I believe, do you need a man? No, you can. Chris Rock said it best. Can you raise a child by yourself? Of course you can. Is that the way you should do it? I don't think so. Just like when a man says, I don't need no woman, I don't believe that either. Because I know what we become when you're connected to someone that you truly care about. I am a better man because of my wife. I'm a success because of my wife. Now, that doesn't mean my talents would not have shown themselves without her. I just don't know if they showed themselves the way they did with her. Next one. Number 3 on reasons why men are scared of independent women and why you should be proud of that is here we go. We already have full lives that we love. Okay, nothing wrong with that. But again, it goes back to the previous. I still think we should be partnered up. Yeah, I know. And after a while, you hear it's going to be like, it sounds corny. I am corny and I'm an older dude. Okay. But this whole, I don't need a partner, I don't believe in that. Now, I also don't believe in some of these roles of you going to do what I tell you to do because I'm the man. I ain't that either. And I'm not metrosexual. So before you come at me on some foolishness, miss me with that. Miss me with that. Because the idea is I just see things in a way I can see things. I see the glass half full. And that other half is obtainable. And when you get it, I believe you can become something different. And I'm a man of faith. So my faith dictates something different. But I'm not going to turn this into church today. Let's see what this is. 1, 2, 3, 4. Because we expect intelligent conversation. But don't everybody though? Who's intellectual? Doesn't every intellectual person expect intellectual conversation and enjoy intellectual conversation? But that's just me. The next one says, reason men are scared of independent women and why we should be proud of it is because we're experts at getting ourselves off. Isn't everybody an expert in getting themselves off, as this person puts it? So I don't think that's exclusively a woman thing, especially young men. They start early. Ladies, tell me if I'm wrong. Them socks start disappearing early in them 11, 12, 13 years of age. You start going, I know I bought that boy a whole thing of socks. Where are all those socks going? You know what he's doing with them. But again, this particular author thinks that that's a reason why men are scared of women. Do men have strong concern on how to please women? Of course. It is an issue. Do some men react negatively when they believe they're not pleasing their woman? Mm-hmm. But again, it's both sides though. And most of this is both sides. But again, it's based on the person writing the article and who the target audience is of the article. Obviously, this particular author is not trying to convince me of anything. They're speaking to other women. And I get it because she starts off with we. So she's letting you know I am a female. This is who I'm talking to. And I have no problem with it. I just thought it was interesting. Moving on to the next one. This one says we already have a 5, 10, and 15-year plan for our lives. And that's a reason why men are scared of independent women. That one I don't necessarily believe. I believe it's mutually equal. Men who are out here planning for their future to women that are planning out their future. And I don't believe that a lot of men are scared of a woman who has her future planned out. Again, I think a lot of it goes back to negative attitude, how men perceive certain attitudes. I'm not saying women's attitudes are negative just because they're demonstrative about themselves. It's okay. Speak your talk. But I think many of us take certain strength positionings and we connect it to attitude because of issues with ourselves. See, that's the one thing for me is I think a lot of men have issues with themselves that they don't deal with, and then they project that out to their women. But when I try to have that conversation, I'm called a simp or pandering, and I don't care. Listen, it is what it is. Here's the thing that I know in private. Now, ladies, check this out before I go on, right? Tell me this and help any man that may see this. Isn't your man totally different in private than the way he is in public or around his boys? Put it in the chat if you have seen exactly what I'm talking about. Okay, moving on. This one, another reason why men should be scared of independent women and why we as women should be proud of this is that we're sexy and we know it. That's mutually exclusive. You got as many men walking around here with their chest puffed out about how good they look compared to women. We know you look good, sisters, as well as there's men running around here looking good. That's not even something that men are scared of. Now, are men intimidated by good-looking women? Yes. Have seen it, find it interesting, have been to clubs where I have seen a gorgeous woman dancing and men are scared to walk over and say something because they don't want to get turned down. Well, to me, that's a great opportunity to check your game. What's your approach game like? What's your, let me figure out how we going to hold this conversation game like? What's my, I'm going to try to get in just 3 dances, 3 songs, and then I'm out game look like? What's my, would you like to get something to drink game look like? What's your communication game looking like? And a lot of times a gorgeous woman triggers something in us men that all of that starts to shut off. And many of us get to babbling. You looking good. She know that. That's I come a little stronger than that. And here's the problem. Here's the thing. Now I'm gonna put you up on game, right? Retired game. I have found because men don't spend enough time around women, they don't know how to converse in a way that is interesting to the woman. So they will talk about things that's interesting to them, or they'll speak about the obvious. And the sister is looking at you like, I know everything I got on. Thank you. And you come off corny, and then you see her expression. And men, we read certain body language quickly. Oh, she thinking I'm stupid. And we start having that internal conversation and we're melting down. We just disappear. First of all, confidence is sexy. Let me put a lot of y'all on game. Your confidence is sexy. Now, here's another one. Your intellect is sexy. Your ability to converse, not conversate, that is not a word. Your ability to converse is sexy. Your understanding and respect of personal boundaries. I can have this conversation from 3 to 4 feet away. I ain't got to be up in her face is sexy. Your ability to lead without dragging. And here's what I mean. You want to join me at the bar and you can hold your hand out if you like, or would you say, would you like to join me at the bar? And you point to the bar and say, come on, let's go. And you let her go. Go ahead, after you, darling. That's what gentlemen do. Being a gentleman, sexy. Being assertive without being aggressive is sexy. What would you like to drink? I'm not even sure. Would you like some wine, white or red, or would you like something stronger? What are you in the mood for? Being able to converse while being assertive without being aggressive is sexy. And then when you had a couple of sips, knowing that you're not sitting there taking shots unless she wants to, having a couple of sips, putting the glass down and having a conversation without stuff flying out your mouth and hitting her in the face is sexy. And then being able to have real conversation about whatever. So tell me a little bit about yourself. What are you into? Unless you're just a professional dancer here at the club. Talk to me. And being able, and humor is sexy. Long as it's not over the top humor and it's not derogatory and it does not have to be sexual. You don't have to talk about the fact that that blouse exposes a good portion of her breast. You don't have to talk about that skirt showing off a little thigh. You don't have to talk about the sleeveless or strapless. You don't got to do any of that. You see it. She's talking to you. Keep her entertained by stimulating her mind with the fact that you were able to have a conversation that's not you bragging about what you own, what you possess, what you do, or what you're holding south of your waist. Do that, and you got a shot, no matter how gorgeous she is. But unfortunately, many of us have never put that playbook together, so we go out there and just stare, which is the most uncomfortable thing to all women. Gorgeous, ugly, whatever, don't make a difference. Every woman finds it creepy when you just sit there and you figure, if I just stare at her long enough, I'll melt her defenses down. No, she's going to mess around and call the police or mace you. And the last two reasons men are scared of independent women and why women should be proud of that is that sisters know they have options. Of course they do. That's 100% true. Even the ugliest chick in the club has more options than most men. Don't get it twisted, fellas. Don't get it twisted. Now, if you're a gorgeous looking dude, yes, you're going to have options, but do not think for a second that the chick you deem ugly doesn't have options. And don't let her have body. And I didn't say body, B-O-D-Y, body, B-O-D-I, body, and not be attractive. She still has more options than the average dude, simply because there's enough of us nasty dudes out there who don't care what she look like if she has body. So don't act like you hearing this for the first time. And if you are, okay, call me out on it. Show me the lie that I told. Show me the lie. Just put it in the chat. Say, nah, big dog, I ain't feeling that. Give me your reason. I'm for it. I'm here for it. Last thing from this article, and then I'm going to get ready to close this out. The last thing from this article of reasons why men are scared of independent women and why you should be proud of this is that many women really don't give a damn of what anyone thinks. Now, let me tell you why I do not agree with this. Let me tell you why. I believe that, yes, tons of women who are on the upper echelon get to a point where they do not care what anyone thinks about them. But because of the number of women that I counsel and the fact that a lot of women are under a ton of barrage mentally from a lot of dispositions, a lot of positions from in-house to who they date to the circle of sisters around them, that the concern or the consideration of the way people perceive them is an issue for many. And if it's not you, I got you. I understand. But I do know for many, because it starts early. Because again, and a lot of that is connected to us men projecting so much foolishness onto, and then other sisters projecting theirs on other women. So that one I don't agree with. I believe there's quite a few that have reached that point where they don't care what people think. Quite a few. But I think there's many who really do. So with that said, I don't see any interaction in the chat. But as I said, I'm going to do what I do. And I hope that when you watch this, if you've made it this far on YouTube or you've come this far on Facebook and you've watched it to the end, thank you. I want you to like this post. I want you to share it. Now, here's the thing that I want you to do if you're going to share it, right? I want you to, when you share it, tell somebody why you're sharing it. So when you share it to your page, please do. Well, first, like it on mine and then share it to yours. And when you share it to yours, say, hey, check out this dude, Keith, right here. Check out the big man. Yo, check out my man right here. Check out this dude, however you want to label me. Tell them why they should check me out. See, there's some good information on. Tell them why, because often when we share stuff, there's so much information being tossed out to people now. They kind of just go, but it's different if you go, hey, check out Big Man's take on relationships. Hey, check out this brother talking about independent women. Hey, check out the way this dude talking about why men act the way they do. Whatever, however you want to label it, put a label on it. And that changes the way people on your page will interact with it and then have them come find me. Because I can't reach everybody in the world, but I can reach a lot of people in the world with your help. And I want to go through that. So before I go, I want to walk you through something. Part of my motivation for what I do is to try to help create happiness. And happiness is the context of mental and the context of mental or emotional states is positive and pleasant emotions ranging from contentment to intense joy. Because there's different levels to happiness, my job is to try to help people get to the least one, which is contentment. If you can just be content with yourself, that's a form of happiness. Now, if we can get you to intense joy, then I'm doing what I got to do. That's my thing right there. So happiness is one of the staples behind and one of my professional as well as personal and spiritual motivations. Now, my other spiritual motivation is right here with Galatians 6, because I am a man of faith, and I do lean on my faith in things that I do. And part of my counseling, part of my just trek on this planet is right here. Carry Galatians 6:2. Carry each other's burden, and in this way you will fulfill the laws of Christ. Those laws, the 10 commandments. So for me, if I can help other people's burdens, then I'm aligning myself with my faith. I'm doing what I was commanded through my faith. I don't have to preach to you. I don't have to try to indoctrinate you to my faith. I simply let you know that this is one of the foundations to what I do, along with trying to help people find happiness. Now, as I said to you before, this is going up on my YouTube page. So if you want to go see this video and other videos from other Fridays, there's my YouTube link right there, and you will be able to do that. Now, one of the most important, if listening to me today, you realize that you're going through some personal situations, you feel you need some personal help. Well, here's the link. It's in my bio of all of my sites. You can go to my Linktree link and just click on Discovery Call. It's free. You fill out the paperwork and you will set up a call, and we can get on a call and have a conversation and see if I am the counselor to help you, to see if I am the person who can help you deal with whatever problems that you have. Because as I started this thing off with saying, I am a crisis specialist, and I am, and that is what I do. Okay? That's the link. All right. Now, you guys heard me say I am a person that works with, I am a person of faith, but I do work with churches. Here's the link. Okay. This is my email. If you are a church or a church leader, a church goer, or you're a church leader, or if you're a pastor, and you want to set up a mental health ministry. Now, what's a mental health ministry? It is a ministry that you set up with your church, that if your parishioners need mental health services, they come to me. Now, the church helps pay a portion of the fees, whatever the person cannot pay. And you go, why would I do that? Well, because the church, we're supposed to. That's that part of Galatians 6:2, helping carrying the burdens for other people. And it's a win-win for everybody involved. Let me explain to you why. If the person puts what they can in, they're investing, they have skin in the game. You as the church help pay the other portion, which now allows them to get the services. I will offer you a discount in the services that I provide, so you will not pay what I normally charge. So I'll take a little less. So I got skin in the game too. But in the end, not only are we serving God, we're also getting people the help that they need. That is a true ministry. As well as you as the church gain, people will continue to come to church and bring other people to church because they're being fed mentally. Now, it says in the Bible, you are changed by the renewing of your mind. How do we help people make those changes if we don't help them renew their mind? How do we help them renew their minds if we don't get them the proper professional, therapeutic, and faith-based help? That's what I do, and I would love to talk to you about it more, or even send you my brochure of what I do. Please reach out. My email's right there. Just have your people contact my people, and we'll set something up. Now, with that said, and it's time to get ready to get out of here, I'm going to get ready to go. But as you know, I ask people to bring me their pain. But first, here's why. Because I believe we can fix this, as you see from the hashtag. That is my first hashtag that I lean on first, meaning I honestly believe that when two or more people get together, they can fix whatever problem or find the resources necessary to fix the problem. But the only way I can help you do that is if, number two, my second hashtag, is you bring me your pain. So first, I have to believe that we can fix it. Second, you got to help me out by bringing me your pain. If we can do both of those things, then we are in a position to actually make the changes necessary to bring you back to that point of happiness that we talked about earlier. I am Keith K.L. Belvin, crisis specialist, professional counselor, author, and educational consultant. Sean Milley, take me out for the weekend. Let's go. Ready? Here we go. Come on. Come on. When you gonna love me? And if you ain't gonna love me like I love the way you should tell me. Tell me that if you're not gonna love me, tell me. Have a great weekend, guys. God bless.